as far as us fathers, man, it's just really important that we do be a guide, we do be a coach, and we realize that a kid's sense of identity has so much to do with who they choose, especially in the later years. And you don't want them getting a sense of identity from anyone else outside the home or anyone outside of good influences. It's really important that we feed them knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We empower them. We speak life into them, and then we let them challenge themselves and stretch themselves. And we coach them through their bad experiences. Many times we sit idly by, just trying to hoping the moment passes because it hurts to see our children in pain. But I think that when they go through certain things, they need some understanding, and that you should always be there to try to help them make sense of what happened.
What's going on, family? Welcome to another episode of the Fatherhood Village podcast, the official home for proud fathers and mentors. I go by the name of Dale Holloway. As always, I'm rocking with Kev Hick. What's happening with you, bruh?
Man, I'm chilling, man. No complaints.
I feel that. Everything cool at the house?
Yeah, man. Everything's shut down. It's peaceful right now.
I dig it. Well, yeah, man, we want to keep this episode too long, but we're going to dive into who are your friends, especially as it pertains to our children. Because as we were kids, we know we hung out with some knuckleheads. I know a lot of times my mom even told me, like, hey, I don't like you hanging around him, or Dad, that's not the crowd you need to be around. My stepdad would chime in, like, we play it off. We like, they going too hard on me. Ain't that bad, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But real quick, I want both of us to kind of give our definition of what a friend is. I'm gonna start with you, kid.
Um, I think a friend is somebody who, and I'm a spiritual guy, so forgive me if I go too deep into the shadows of spirit right now. But
Oh, go ahead.
to me, a friend is somebody who recognizes your inner deity and recognizes their place and their purpose and their responsibility to be of service to you and that portion of you, your spirit. And obviously, you and being a good friend yourself, you're a person who acknowledges the worth and the value of a person's spirit, and you operate obviously from a physical and carnal sense as a friend, as a human, but you operate for each other's greater good, right? For the result of each other's life. You're loyal, you're nurturing, you're supportive, and you're all overall just for that person, without cause, without payment, without a reason, without a benefit. I think a friend is somebody who loves you without a cause, loves you without a reason.
Yes, sir.
And anybody who can love without cause, to me, can be a friend. But I'm not one who keeps a lot of friends. There's a quote that I always say, as my friends go, or as it pertains to my friends, I'd much rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies.
There you
And so
go.
for me, I'm a man who really doesn't have much more than four friends at all. I think I have exactly 4 friends, and I'm talking to one of them now. So
Right.
there are
Already.
three others outside of you that I even call a friend, and I think that for me it holds a lot of prestige to even use that word. So for me, it just everybody can't be a friend, and I don't do a whole lot less than friends. So that's why people think I'm antisocial, because it's hard to get in that square. It's already built. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. Nah, you brought up a great point. Friends are rare. That's a rare occurrence. It should be. And we'll get into the other levels here in a bit, but to kind of piggyback on what you said, I agree with you wholeheartedly. They're supportive, helpful, and what's great about a friend, a lot of times you abide by the same code,
Yeah.
as far as ethics, morals, values. A lot of that is pretty much aligned. Someone honest with you that can give it to you 1,000, and they're not gonna sugarcoat it. They're gonna give it to you how TI is.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism. Someone you can confine in, not gonna run and tell your business out here in these streets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, y'all kind of y'all are part of each other. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like they're not gonna let you go down the wrong path. They gonna come to your safety. They protect you. Um, save your face. They step up, for your name when you're not around.
Yeah.
Um, all those things, through the thick and thin, back
Yeah.
when you ain't had nothing, what I'm saying? And when times were kind of rough, y'all stuck it out. Y'all remain close. Like you said, loyalty, that's huge.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
see a lot of that. Things are kind of conditional, what I'm saying? There's some stipulations, on some things, you feel me?
Yeah.
But nah, all great points, great definitions. But yeah, so as I said before, the different levels of friendship.
Yeah.
That's the next point I want to get into. So what I kind of see is that lower tier is the acquaintance,
Yeah.
what a lot of kids, the kids of our age, that's a lot of who they have. Unless they friend, like, when our kids, because our kids haven't really formally met or whatever. It was that one brief time, but I think you had came late to the little shower and your kid was much older. Um, but unless the kids are around each other just based on the relationship the parents have, they can, they
Mhm.
can level up. But a lot of times with the playmates and the play dates and who they know in school or what have you, associates, and at best a lot of times it's or excuse me, it's an acquaintance and then associates, that second level, and then that first level is the friend, you know what I'm saying, and what we spoke of before. So what do you say as far as with our children? Do you use that word loosely? Do you allow that to kind of flow out their mouth? And because it comes a time where they kind of believe everyone is kind of their friend, whoever they associate
Yeah.
with, whoever they're around and playing with, and just because they know their name, oh, that's my friend. Oh yeah, meet my friend, daddy. Or sometimes they'll say a friend like my daughter. I'm like, what's her name? Uh, right. You know what I'm saying? So what are some of the things that you say? Is that something that you kind of let just slide and just let it be, or do you kind of like let them know, like, hey, this is what a friend is, or you give example, like, this is your friend, this one you just met,
Yeah.
how you handle that?
My son is he's interesting because he seems to have a barometer for friendship already. So like I'm always going to be worried about who he brings around him and the energy he entertains, right? But he has a very short list of people he considers friend, and the people who aren't nice to him, the people who don't treat him well, immediately are just cut off, right?
Right.
So when he's speaking to me, he's normally only talking about the same two people, right?
Okay.
And so he has these two friends at school that he misses because of Corona shut everything down, cut him off all early and stuff. But he has two friends, and he'll mention another kid's name, and I'm like, "Oh, is that your friend?" He'd be like, "No."
Ah, he's
Like,
stern with it. Yeah.
and he said, "I have two friends." He said,
Nice.
"But it's 50 kids in your class. I have two friends."
There you go.
He's serious. Like he's
Yeah.
determined. There's something that these people are giving him that is of value, and that way and because of that he wants to give them his friendship. But for him it feels like it's supposed to, it's actually pretty heartwarming to watch him select friends based on how he's treated, and how how he's respected, even though he's 5, he'll be 6 Friday, but
Nice.
he's very selective about the people he calls friend. And as he grows and learns and gets some game from me, I'll explain to him why maybe that's his innate nature and why that's a great thing. It's a good gift to start with, the discernment of a friend and a foe,
Hmm.
you know?
Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I kind of say, I tell her, Sade, because Rashad, he's too young. He's not even 3
Yeah.
yet. So friend has no weight to his vocabulary right now. But I tell Sade that a lot of times when she meets someone, or she may know the next door neighbor. I'm like, hey, you guys got to do some bonding. You guys got to find out more about each other for her to be your friend, okay? And I'll give her examples of who I, have as a friend, like the people she met, like with you, when we on Zoom and stuff, and she identifies with you now. So she, okay, that's daddy's friend, and like who I bring to the house.
Yeah.
These people are close and they're considered friends. So I give it to her kind of plain Jane, and don't want to get too deep into it, but I just want her to be able to kind of discern between the two, and to know like, okay, these are just playmates. This is my neighbor. And
Yeah.
let it build. This off rip, it's not going to be a friendship. And like I said, as she gets older, she'll understand. And like that's kind of another thing. What I wanted to lead into. The more they know about themselves, as we
Right.
learned, as we grew, the
Right.
the more uh that we'll know about the people we're hanging with, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like depending on who you hang with can tell a lot about yourself. Like why am I attracted? Why am I steadily hanging with these people?
Yeah.
And then you're assumed to mimic some of the same, ways that they carry themselves, like your representation, like you said,
Yeah.
of the 5 and 6 people that you spend the most time with. So, you have to, like I said, when that's the next point I want to make, but you have to know a lot about yourself to know that, hey, this is the crowd for me, or
Absolutely.
I don't like when I'm with this set of people, I feel this way, and then I'm with another set. It's like I feel totally different. It's a form of elation and zest when I'm with this group, and then it's kind of like, I feel like I'm in a negative situation, or I gotta watch my back, or these people always want to get in trouble and cause chaos. So she has to understand, like, okay, I feel better when I'm with these people. So maybe that's the people I need to be around the most. I can learn from, or we can share things together, and it adds to what we're building as a friend. I can count on her,
Yeah.
um, so let's actually get right into it.
I
Do you
think
allow your child? No, go ahead and add your point. Go ahead.
well, I think to that particular point, I feel like one of the things that, and you might have been going in this way eventually, but one of the things that determine the type of friends that our children seek out, especially if it's not a natural connection, but they're seeking out relationships. One of the things that determines that is, as their sense of identity, like you said. But as parents and as fathers specifically, we have a very strong and a very natural, instinctual power over our child's sense of identity. And so it's really important that we make sure that every day we're speaking life into our sons and daughters. We're telling them who they are. We're telling them how great they are. We're telling them how they need respect, how they need to be honored, how they need to respect and honor everyone else who's worthy of that, level of respect. But I'm always speaking life into my son, and so I'm protecting his self-esteem and I'm helping him build his self-esteem. Because if a child has good self-esteem and they got a good sense of self, when they meet people who don't match up with what they believe about themselves, when they meet people who don't treat them in accordance to how great they believe they are, how good they believe they are, or how cool, kids are always worried about just being cool. If they don't believe they're cool, then another child will tell them how to be cool. And that's when they start picking up the wrong friends. But you as a father can, first of all, create cool, determine whatever cool is, and then teach your son that he is already great enough. He's already good enough. Teach your daughter that she's already great. She's already good. She doesn't need anybody's validation. Anything you say to a 5-year old is truth. They don't know what the hell hyperbole and sarcasm is. It's all truth. You can give them a sense of self-esteem in a lot of cases that will supersede the shit that they encounter in the world. And then it will ultimately make their decisions for them about the groups they choose, because people generally choose groups based on their sense of identity. You've given them a strong sense of identity, then people who mistreat them, people who challenge that, will automatically be removed from the rank of friend, in their
Mm-hmm.
mind. And so there's some subconscious training going on, and there's always a war of the subconscious mind that you have to win as a father, and you have to always be contributing to their subconscious sense of self-esteem.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And that's something that kids at different paces at different levels figure out.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like you said, they will compare themselves to the popular kids and what's being accepted, and they kind of want to, gauge and kind of match that in a certain way. Many of us, it kind of did a little bit of that here and there. You might do
Yeah.
things that are more acceptable, and it might not be exactly you, but hey, I gained a couple friends or acquaintances or people that on the superficial side of things like me. And
Yeah.
um, but yeah, it's like I said, it's a lot of different pools, a lot of peer pressure going on outside the house. So you may do things that are uncharacteristic of, what's being told at the house just to see how it works, because kids they gonna experiment a little bit. But like I said, as long as they know deep down inside, those things are being reinforced at the house. They're repeated over and over, like you said, speaking that life into them on a daily.
Yeah.
um, that's what's going to overpower the things that are outside the house, um, more times than not. So, but to step into the next point, do you allow your child to have certain friends, or when that time comes, or if it's kind of being experienced right now, do you kind of help them, hold their hand and walk with them as far as choosing their friends, or do you kind of just let them experiment and find out on their own, kind of bump their head and kind of say, hey, we had that talk. I was trying to tell you, trying to warn you.
I, I
How's that on your end?
I think as my son gets older, my style of parenting will change around that. At the moment, I'm more of a coach, right? I'm
Hmm.
just observing what I can see. Most 5-year-olds aren't inherently wicked. They will learn to be wicked, or horrible or abusive or tragic. But at the moment, they're just five, doing whatever they've seen and heard and regurgitating life around them. So right now I'm just coaching. When he comes home and he says some shit like, "Oh, so and so was mean to me," I'm gonna be honest, man. I just tell him, "Man, fuck so and so."
Straight up.
I mean, straight up, like, because
Yeah.
that's how you gonna hear it. Like, listen, man, our parents was drinking and drugging, man. The worst I'm gonna do is say the cuss words. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
that's the worst I'm gonna do. But if a little boy say something mean to him, he come home and say, "Dad, I ain't like him. He always mean to me." Man, fuck Johnny.
Yeah.
And that sounds terrible. But my mom was look, that is nothing compared to my childhood. But I need him to understand that Johnny's not somebody that you go seek validation from because he's being mean to you. Fuck Johnny, because if you have to do something outside of yourself to be Johnny's friend, then Johnny ain't nobody you need to be around anyway. So yeah,
Thanks.
fuck little Johnny.
Hmm.
And we don't need him to be cool. You know what I'm saying? So if I meet little Johnny, you can't fuck with little Johnny. You're not friends with little Johnny because he's
Hmm.
abusive. He's controlling. He's manipulative. If that was the case at 5, that's how I would have to handle that. But that's not normally the case because my son's already pretty selective. But as he gets older, he's gonna meet weaker and weaker. He's gonna meet weaker and weaker people.
Right.
As he meets weaker and weaker people, he will need more coaching, and sometimes it'll be guidance, it'll be coaching, and then it'll be direction, right?
Hmm.
It'll be orders. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
as the challenge changes, so will my parenting style. If he gets a little friend that likes to do drugs, fuck that little kid. We not hanging around that little kid no more, that little teenager. You know what I'm saying? If
Hmm.
that becomes the clique, if the clique is if he gets into gang violence, I'm gonna tell you. So I'm just being honest about me. I wipe a little gang out before I let my son ruin his
Oh
damn
yeah.
life. You feel
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like you when
Yeah.
you start thinking about that, so it's like, listen, y'all ain't selling my son no drug. First of all, I'm not gonna even be in one of those areas, but the local dope boy is that's a no sale for young Noah. You don't give him nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I guess my parenting style will change as he gets older.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be more hands-on, and as long as he's making decent enough decisions, I'll coach him and I'll guide him from the sidelines, but I'll always be around, and that's the whole
Right.
point of fatherhood. You just try to be around in the best way you're received.
Yeah. Facts. Facts. Now you're right. You gotta adjust to the situation, what's at hand. Like you said, your son's doing a phenomenal job with being selective. And my daughter is kind of opposite. She's a social butterfly. She loves to socialize and be around kids and have fun. She's real joyful and playful, as she should be. And she gets a lot of that from her mother. I think I was kind of like that to an extent. But you know, she wants everyone to have the same feelings and jubilance that she has, and she don't want to start any problems. That's not what she's out there to do. She wants to have fun with everybody. So that's good, but at the same time, she has to know when to protect that, and somebody's interfering with that, or causing some friction. She has to distance herself, and know that, okay, this is not the person I need to be around. I'm not going
Yeah,
to force anything, just to remain close to this person. So, but yeah, she'll understand how to gauge people, sense the energy, and like I said, if it's not matching up, this thing's not being reciprocated, then she knows to step off, back away. But like I said, she'll learn on her own. Like you said, yeah, your son came to you with the issues, what was going on in school, and you got to tell him straight up. You can't sugarcoat it. Tell her
yeah,
how it is. That's what you're there to do. We're gonna keep it short and sweet to the point. You know.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, there's a lot of time, like I said, going back to what I said in the beginning. I guess I had to be told that people weren't right for me, because
yeah,
I think a lot of times, a part of me wanted to be accepted or in with the cool crowd,
yeah,
or the girls looking in this direction, so let me try to get over here, and what I mean, and get in the
yeah,
mix. But like I said, that's a part of searching for yourself. You got to find yourself, your
yeah,
purpose, and it has to be reinforced at home too, because I think,
yeah.
not that they were telling me anything different than what I need to be concentrating on, or I wasn't loved at home or anything like that. It was just kind of like
But you were
what
like
I
the only child besides, when Vic
yeah.
would be over there. So you didn't have. See, I was blessed with big brothers. I
Hmm.
had three big brothers. So I had three mentors, kind of like, what I'm saying, on my ass about shit. You know what I'm saying? And so my brother, like I said, people might say, "Oh my God, you told him fuck little Johnny?" Yes. That's exactly what my brother told me if I told him somebody was disrespecting me. And then he
Hmm.
would make me assault them. So at least I ain't making him whoop on no little shit.
Yeah.
Look, we
Yeah.
from a dark place, so um I was kind of opposite of you because I always had somebody on me and coaching me, and I was fortunate in that way.
Hmm.
Um, I always determined what was cool around me, no
Good.
matter what. Like if whatever, and I'm such a contrarian. I always wanted to be different anyway. And
Hmm.
so if people were doing the same thing, if two or three people were doing the same thing, I was like, oh, look at these lame motherfuckers over here doing this. Let me do
Hmm.
this over here. And that was just my nature. So I think it was a blessing for me. It protected me from a lot because I come from a much more dangerous environment than you.
Yeah.
You grew up in a better area of town than I grew up in, one of the worst hoods in Dayton. I grew up in every
Hmm.
bad hood, actually. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. The
not
hood was
great.
like
Yeah,
was a little down the way. You had to go
yeah,
deliberately over there to,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Mm.
my training different. I had to be a contrarian. I had to be an individual, and I had to be a leader because if I started following, it would lead me to a life of crime. And my brother, even as a young man, understood that, and so he always made sure that if I was in it, I had to be running it, and if I wasn't running it, then I ain't got no business being in it. And
Mm.
he punched me dead in my chest if he caught me following anybody, or
Mm.
just not even
Gotcha.
being aware of my leadership. You know what I'm saying? Like it was serious. Leadership was bred into me because if I wasn't a leader and I came out of Hilltop Homes or Mountain Crest Courts or Dayton View, I was going to be a criminal. And
Yeah.
with the same ferocity and the same power and the same influence that I do good, I would have obviously learned to do bad coming from those areas. So it was really important for him to be very strict about making sure if he see me following, not to. And if an enemy was identified, it wasn't, oh, just try to be nice to him and see if he's nicer to you tomorrow. No, it was fuck him.
Mm.
Because otherwise, what do I do to impress him? What kind
Yeah.
of person do I become trying to impress my enemies? A sucker,
Right. Right.
right? So I guess the different experiences, and neither of us would trade our experience, but it's interesting how we are so alike and so opposite at the same time in our
Yeah.
upbringings.
Yeah. And like I said, I faced like internal conflict because, like you, I wanted to be my own self. I wanted my own identity. I didn't want to be matched with anybody or compared or anything like that. So, but then when I went out the door, it was just like, all right, like, but who am I? If to begin with, there were some
Yeah,
questions that I needed to answer for myself. And
yeah.
so, with those question marks, things that kind of took the place of that void, you know, unintentionally. So, but yeah, and I'm sure that our
A
children will
lot,
kind of face a little bit of that conflict as well. Go ahead.
and a lot of and a lot of only childs have that conflict
Hmm.
because you don't come from a tribe, right? Like,
Hmm.
even though my brothers were so much older than me, my youngest brother's 7 years older than me. When I looked up at my older brothers, I was the last Mohican. I was one of them, right? And so I
Yeah.
always felt like I'm gonna be just like them. I'm a part of this group. This tribe
Yeah.
operates in this way. I see my brothers, they was real gangster niggas. They was solid. You know what I'm saying? So like
Hmm. Hmm.
I felt like, oh, I come from where they come from. I'm their little brother. They
So
blood
you
runs
you
through
act
me.
accordingly. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
act accordingly. So I was 7 years old with Kango hats and Reebok Classics, bubblegum bottoms, Dickie fits. I looked like a damn LA Crip. You know what I'm saying? Just because
Yeah.
that's how they was dressing. And so, but
Yeah.
it wasn't just the dress, it was everything that I thought I was. I thought I was one of them. And it gave me a sense of tribe, and that tribe had a code. And so for me, I was just fortunate in that way. But everybody I knew that didn't have a big brother or didn't have a lot of siblings and didn't form a tribe amongst themselves had to go out and figure out who their tribe was when they left the house. So for
Hmm.
all of the fathers listening who have an only child, you got to be even more so than somebody who has a lot of siblings, especially older siblings. Your children that don't have siblings, they need to be coached around their friendships from a very early age because they will get their identity from the world and how the world sees them, because the house in and of itself will never be enough to give a person their identity. They have to go out and figure out who they are and how that reconciles with the rest of the world.
Most definitely. Yep. That's true. That is very true. Yeah. So, like I said, it took some years. It's going to take some patience and understanding, going through some bullshit, going through, some errors but always understanding that, everything is a learning process, a learning curve, and not to make the same mistake twice. And like to know when things line up, like, okay, when I'm working with him, yo, he trying this, in the essence of being in school or just bettering yourself.
Yeah.
This person, hey, he's getting his education, he's getting A's. And how you doing that, man? It's like when we was in Stivers, like, um, some people's talents and things were like off the charts, So I would, when we were in, visual arts class and stuff, people was like they sketches and they illustrations be dope. So like, man, I'm into that. How you get that? What kind of pencils you using? Hey, what kind of paper? You know what I'm saying? So you're elevating yourself. What I'm saying? You're becoming more
Yeah.
of who you are. Like once you find, a talent, something that you're good at, your gift. And like I said, when because I remember back um when I was in kindergarten, you know, just early, I'm kind of getting off subject a little bit, but just little tidbits of finding out who I am when I just started drawing. People just wanted me to draw for them. Can you
Oh
draw me
yeah.
turtle? Can you draw me
Oh, you
Superman?
too.
And that, yes, yeah. So I was like, you know what I mean? I just thought I was okay, but I guess I was like the only guy really doing
Uh,
the drawings and stuff. So people
and I
kind of
used to
flocked to
draw.
me.
I used
Yeah.
to draw Tweety Bird, Taz, and Bugs Bunny for everybody's lunches every day. I used to have like 3 pizzas every day, 3 hamburgers, whatever it was.
Yeah,
I had like
they
a few.
hook you up.
Yeah, now I would be drawing for extra lunches because I'd be hungry. I don't know why I had a bigger appetite, so I'd be drawing for extra lunches.
Nice.
That's funny. Go ahead.
Yeah. Nah, but that kind of, uh, I figured some things out about myself. Like I said, just having the creative spirit and being a visual artist. As I got older, I'm like, look, this is something I'm good at because I got pretty much the validation from people that just wanted me to do art for them. So that's kind of,
Mhm.
what carried me. So I'd always kind of rock and knew that was like my, that was the anchor for me. Like if
That
all
was,
else fails, if I don't know nothing else about me, I can draw some shit. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
And you always had a tribe around you that at least could share that particular thing.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Stivers was good for that. Like it brought out a lot um of those hidden gems that I had and didn't know much about myself. And like I said, when you put so many hours and dedication and like I said, you getting feedback and you looking at other people's stuff, you're inspired, you're motivated. Like that really helped. I'm not sure if it panned out the same way if I went to a different school. I'm not sure. Maybe I'd have felt like I want to do something else. I don't know. But I'm glad, like I said, I wouldn't erase and change any of the past for anything. But that's what I want, to kind of draw it all back. I want Charlotte to find out great things about herself in the house. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
solidify that and set that in stone. So when you see somebody that's kind of close to where you are, talent wise or just uh kinesthetic wise or whatever it is, like, okay, this we can relate on something, you know what I mean? And it can go from there. Maybe y'all just kind of stay on the acquaintance level or whatever. But that's how she can start picking out who she rather spend her time with because of things that she has and she holds dear to herself. Like, you know what? My dad, showed me about this, this, and this. That's what they into. Okay. Well, I trust my dad with the information. Let me mess with these people because there's some correlation here. So this little thing she can start picking up on and just not just willy-nilly messing with people because, well, I don't know nobody else. So, you know what I mean? But but definitely, definitely, man. Any last little bits you want to add real quick?
Yeah, sure. I guess friendship for adults, makes a lot of sense, but friendship for children is very confusing, and the children change their minds quite a bit. And especially young girls, they go to school one day and Sherry's their friend, Nita's their friend, Kim's their friend. The next day, they come home and none of them girls they friend. They got a whole new four. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
young girls just go through a lot trying to figure out who their tribe is and what they represent. I always feel for them, man, and feel for the fathers and the mothers trying to figure out how to wrangle even the teenage young girls who can't figure it hadn't figured it out yet. So
Mhm.
but as far as us fathers, man, it's just really important that we do be a guy, we do be a coach, and we realize that a kid's sense of identity has so much to do with who they choose, especially in the later years. And you don't want them getting a sense of identity from anyone else outside the home or anyone outside of good influences. It's really important that we feed them knowledge, wisdom, understanding. We empower them. We speak life into them, and then we let them challenge themselves and stretch themselves. And we coach them through their bad experiences. Many times we sit idly by, just trying to hoping the moment passes because it hurts to see our children in pain. But I think that when they go through certain things, they need some understanding, and you should always be there to try to help them make sense of what happened. Because
Mhm.
mistakes, that you don't learn from are going to happen again. And so helping them get that understanding, especially as it pertains to the relationships they choose and the effect that that has on not only how they develop, right? Talking about being as stivers and just being around people who are achieving and developing and striving for something, it creates a hunger in you because that becomes culture. But you are the average of the five friends that you spend the most time around, right? So
Mhm.
the culture becomes whoever you're hanging out with. You hanging around five lazy son of a bitches, you're the sixth lazy son of a bitch.
Yeah.
If you hang around five, liars, then you the sixth liar.
Mhm.
Or if you're the fourth, fifth liar. So it makes a lot of difference who you hang out with, and trying to trying to ease that weight into a child's life it has to be done very strategically because
Mhm.
children don't understand a lot of what's going on around them. They just know that they're being spoken to or talked at, or treated a certain way at school. And so, however you have to do it in whatever way that benefits your house and that matches the morals and the values and the integrity that you're trying to teach in your house. Make sure that you apply that, but within the context of understanding that our children have not been here before. They are just trying to figure this out.
Yeah.
This is common knowledge for us, common sense for us. This is new knowledge for them,
Mhm.
right? So as they make their mistakes, as they mischoose friends, as they find themselves in positions of a follower, you have to gently coach them out of that until they understand that they're breaking culture when they go against that. But like I said, man, my brother he wasn't much for breaking that culture, so he stayed on my ass, and he never really had to do much to me because I stayed within the lines of the culture, because the culture for me was being his little brother and my other big brother's little brother. The culture for you was your initial tribe and art, right? And
Mhm.
represent representing your parents when you left, because you were proud of your parents, you loved your parents, so you always wanted to be a good representative of your father, of your mother, of your stepdad. Like,
Mhm.
those things matter. So just being respectable parents is the first step to our children picking better people, because they see an example of the type of people that they want to be around and the type of effect that they want the people to have on them, based on the
Mhm.
effect that we have on them.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. I was actually about to hit on that too. We have to kind of demonstrate what that feeling with that prime example of a friend is. Like we
Mhm.
should be their first friend.
Yeah,
Obviously a father that, as far as the umbrella goes, but yeah, they need to know and understand like what it is to have someone as a friend, and we have to set the best example for that. Like you said, they're
yeah,
gonna they're gonna model that and expect those things from other people, and when it's not reciprocated, when it's not given to them, they know like, look, I need to leave this person alone, or I need to downgrade this person's status because I thought they were my friend, but now actually they're an associate,
yeah,
or less than that, they're an acquaintance. So,
yeah.
they can adjust and engage that from there. But like I said, we set the precedence. Um, but yeah, definitely, man. I think we hit this topic pretty nice, man. But yeah, family. If we miss anything you want to add to the conversation, chime in, hit us up. Like you said, you can find us on IG. We're at the Fatherhood Village. We're on Twitter at Fatherhood News. Get at us. Get at us. Continue this conversation amongst your own circle with your kids. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the wheels turning, man. This was great. This was great. But hey, until next time, it's Dale Holloway. That's Kev Hick. Peace and love.
Peace and love, baby.